Okay, so we're going to do the Flying Dutchman technique, which is a way of making the sheet bend or the weaver's knot. And it's a little bit complicated and it takes a little while for the hands to get used to it. But it is the way that the lace makers use, and it does create a sheet bend that doesn't seem to slip either. So it's worth learning. Okay, now we have our normal just plain netting here, and this is going to be our next stitch that we work into. This stitch here is the one that we've just done. So what we do is we put our index finger and thumb, just hold the last stitch like that, okay? And what we're going to do is hold it so that our fingers underneath are kind of parallel, okay? You don't want them up like that. They've got to be fairly parallel here, okay? Because what we're going to do now, and this is just coming straight from that knot, which is on top of your mesh, is we're going to go round these two fingers. And we're going to pop that yarn on top of that knot, and we're going to put it up here somewhere, okay, out of the way. So at the moment what we've got now is a loop around those two fingers there, okay? And that's coming over the top here. You can see it there over the top. And your index finger doesn't really matter what it's doing. It's not really part of it. It's just pretty much holding up the knot, so and the mesh. So we've basically got that loop there, okay? Now we want to go round, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to go round like that, and we're going to catch it, catch our little finger. See that? We're going to catch our little finger. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to go under and through this loop. Not over the top like that, no, under, okay? So we're going under, and we're also going under into the next stitch. So that's our next stitch there. We've got our loop yarn here, so it's going to be going under the shuttle. That's important as well. So we bring that up through, okay? So we're bringing that all up through. See how the little finger has to catch? Pull that out, and then just start tugging down. And you can see how this stitch is now sitting on top of the mesh. I'll come back a bit so you can see my little finger there. So that stitch is sitting on the mesh, okay? And we've got this bit here coming across. So we want to let the fingers go in a certain order. First, we're going to let that thumb go here. And it's going to allow, and keep everything kind of firm, it's going to allow that to just flip across. See that? So I've now got a little loop up around my stitch. I've still got my fingers in middle and ring finger in their loop, and I've still got my little finger in. Now the next one that goes is the middle and ring finger, okay? We let them go, and this yarn here has to tighten up around the mesh. So we let, and this is a tricky bit, and initially you might have to help your fingers a little bit. We let them go, okay? Now you can see you've got a whole lot of yarn here. Just hold with your index and thumb and just let it wiggle. See that? See how that's now wiggled enough that this has now tightened up, okay? And we've got our stitch, pull that up so that our stitch is right on top of the mesh, okay? That's our loop there. Once we've got to that point, when that's nice and firm, we can let go of the little finger. but you've got to keep pulling down with this. Keep that pulling down and just let that go. And then it clicks around it. And then you've made your stitch. Okay. Let's try that again. So we have our mesh over the top. We're going to use our thumb and index finger just to hold things there. We've got our fingers fairly parallel. We're going to go round the back of the mesh and across like that. And we've got our yarn looped up here. So now we've got our loop around here that we want to go through. And as we go through, we've got to make sure we catch with our little finger. Okay, so let's go through here. We find our next stitch. It's just the next one coming through. Make sure your yarn here is coming under. Okay, we don't want it going over the top. It's got to be under the tip of the shuttle, and then it comes through. And it looks really messy now, but oh, and sometimes you don't catch, so you just flick it onto your little finger. See that? The fingers don't like doing this. It takes quite a while to to get the hang of it. So we pull that stitch down here. Okay, down to the top of the mesh. So we've got our two sides of our stitch and they're on top of the mesh. Now we're going to do our succession of letting go. Thumb first. So you can see as I let the thumb go, just keep everything firm. It kind of falls into place and goes on there, okay? But this is still loose. This one here is still loose. And it's the loop around the middle and the ring finger. So that's the next one we let go. We keep your little finger on and we let these go, okay? As you get better at it, you'll be able to do it more easily, and just tweak it until that's firm, yeah? Now we're going to let go of the little finger, but keep it nice and firm. Pull this down and you let that go, and that's your next stitch.